Welcome to the Oh Hell No podcast, where Kay Nicole delivers a daily dose of inspiration by discussing passion, purpose, and struggle with people who are living their best life doing what they love. Here's Nicole.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Oh Hell No podcast. Today I have Tatiana Jerome. She is an author, and not just any author. Like, she's written like 21 books. I can't even imagine. Crazy. And she's an entrepreneur, overall positive, beautiful spirit. So thank you for coming on the show, Tatiana. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for the nice intro. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I want to ask, what did you think you were going to be when you grew up? As a child, running around,
That's a good question. It was really two things. One, I wanted to be an attorney because my grandfather was an attorney. So I wanted to do that. But then that stopped because one day I remember being in my room. I was younger. I was in my room and I said, I'm going to be somebody. But I knew it wasn't going to be through an attorney. I just didn't know exactly what it was. But I just knew I was going to be somebody. And so I just didn't know from there. And I went to college still not knowing. I was like, I don't know.
Wow. So after you finished school, what did you set out to do with your life? Did you say, okay, I'm just going to probably get a little job and see what happens, or maybe fall back on my major? Like, what was your plan?
I graduated with a degree in PR, public relations. So I was like, okay, I'll just get a job in this because I did like writing, but I am an introverted person. So I didn't know how that was going to work out. But then I took on some temp jobs and that just didn't work out for me either. So
that is so funny that you would go into PR and you're introverted.
Yeah, I don't know why I was like, I like writing. And then I remember I went to a counselor at the time, and they're like, so I wasn't in a major because there was nothing I really was interested in. And the things that I actually thought I was knew I was interested in, I didn't know how to go into those majors. I was like, I could be an art buyer or something. Like, how do you get into the museums and do that? And it wasn't really there for me. So I just said, they asked me what I like to do. I said, write. They're like, you could be a reporter. You could get into journalism. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. And then PR just seems more of a fit at the time. So that was it.
Wow. So what changed or happened that told you that you needed to do something different from what you were doing, just trying to figure out where you were going with your life? Was there anything that just happened where you said, I got to get my stuff together, like I need to do something?
Yeah. It's one thing when you're working, like I was working in college, but that was like play working. I can't even say play working. Yeah, I worked like 2 or 3 jobs. But I was able to work whenever I want to. So I was like, I'm going to be gone for 3 months and then just come back. So when I got out of college, that wasn't the way things worked. I couldn't do that. I got a temp job. And then when I saw politics in another job, it was like after 2 jobs, I was like, oh, no, I don't like people telling me what I have to do, that I only get this much time off, that I need to be out for this long. There was just certain things I don't like that. Yeah. So, and I was like, there's no way I could live like this for the rest of my life. There's no possible way. So yeah, that changed all that.
Wow. So at a young age, you realized that working for someone was just not the path for you, and you needed to figure out how to be your own boss.
Yes.
So when you made that decision, did you decide to automatically go into writing, or did you try some different businesses first? Like, what did you end up doing as an entrepreneur?
I tried different businesses first. So I had a clothing boutique and I really adored it, to be honest with you, but I didn't know enough. This was before, Instagram and all of that stuff. So I didn't know enough, but it did okay. And I was tired of it. After that, I had a marketing company. That's when like Twitter was even bigger, doing really well. So, and it was, I remember it was called the Social Cities. And I still have some of the accounts today where it's just like marketing other people's businesses in different cities. And yeah, I got tired of that too. So there was mistakes that I've learned along the way, also with dealing with clients and people. And I realized that just because you want to work for yourself, you're not really working for yourself. You're still working for other people and customers. So I had to learn a few things in terms of that. So then the thing was that even though I had the skills for certain things, I wasn't passionate about certain things. And I needed something that I was passionate about, something that came natural for me to do. And what I'm doing now is more something that was just natural because I've been doing it since I was younger. But I didn't know that I could take it and make it into a business.
Which is the writing.
The writing, exactly. I'll tell you how that started. What happened with that is that I had a Facebook page, and it wasn't a business or anything. I just had a page, and I said, okay, well, I'll just put my thoughts out here. So I would just write some quotes and stuff that I tend to write to myself, and I put it on Facebook, and then people started to relate. And then so there would be a lot of people who would just ask me questions, private questions, and I would just help them out based on how I felt and what I know. And then from there, I would get, oh, you should write a book. You should write a book. And I'm like, no, I don't want to write a book. It just seemed like that's too much. When I say I write like everything all day, but not a whole book. So at that time, things were okay, but then I went through a breakup. So this breakup ended up being very different from any breakup that I've ever experienced. So at that point, that's when I was going through it was just a really bad time for me. And then I remember doing a prayer, and I was praying, and my prayer was like 2 weeks before I started writing. And the prayer was to God saying, please help me find a way to heal from this and to help other people, help other women as well. And that's how everything started. So I just said, let me just write. And it just came so naturally, and I finished the book so quickly. And then from there, I put the book out, and people were so receptive to it. And I was like, oh, wow. I didn't really expect anything from it besides, okay, well, I'm just doing whatever. And then I put the book out. People gravitated towards it. Then it was like, okay, so what's next? Everybody wanted more. And I'm like, oh, this is all I got. So then afterwards, I said, well, how do I really help myself daily? Is that I journal. I've been journaling. And then so from there, I've created journals. And that's what took off. I just do whatever it is that I naturally do. And I say, hey, if you want to do this way or find a form of healing in this way, this is what I do. And then hopefully it'll help you as well. And since then, it's been going well.
Wow, that's amazing. It's like I interviewed this other author, and she said, my books flow through me. And I thought that was, such a great statement, because it's like it comes from someplace else and they just flow through me. And, this is for everybody to, heal or whatever they need from it. So when you said that your first book just came to you so easily, and you weren't even thinking like, I could write a book, I could write down some, my thoughts, but a whole book, I can't do that. And it just came to you so easy.
It was really, I like what that author said, because it's true. It was just like, oh, okay, I could add this. And then it was me healing from within myself for me. So I didn't know what kind of impact it was going to have for others, because like I said, I'm like, when I was writing on Facebook and whatever I write, I'm like, it's me talking to me. So I don't know how can you relate from it or what you're going through in the time that you're going through it. But for some reason, it seems like there's a collective, we're all going through something around the same time. So it was like, oh, this is great. But I mean, it's crazy. When I always feel like when someone tells you their story, it could move you and you could be like, oh, that's great. but until it actually happens for you and you're walking your journey, it's still unbelievable. Because I was a self-publisher for that book. So I wasn't going through any other channel but myself.
Mm-hmm.
I heard it was very hard to get a publishing deal, especially in this time of age where you need to have like a big following on social media and all this other stuff. They're not just going to sign you no more. So at the time, I wasn't really interested, but so many people are like, oh, is it at the bookstore? I want to get it on the bookstore. Some people aren't really trying to buy something online. And so I said, okay, well, I guess I have to try to get it into, the bookstores. So I read, you have to get a literary agent, went ahead, posted someplace where I forgot what the name of the site is, but where you could find literary agents. Then I got a literary agent just like that. And then within 3 months, a publisher picks me up. And something that normally takes people 2 or 3 years to get, it took me within 3 months to get all these things started. And that's how I said, I know it was divine, because it wasn't something that I was like, oh, I have to have and I really wanted or anything else. It was just like, okay, well, here's the next step. And then it was just so natural. It wasn't anything that I had to struggle with.
Right. Yeah. That's another thing that I always say is like when you're on the right path, things come to you as they should to help you, go along the journey that you're supposed to be on. So,
Right.
That truly is amazing. Wow. So going back to being an entrepreneur and struggles and things like that, you said something that was really important. And you said that even though you're an entrepreneur, you're still working for someone. You're working for yourself, but you're also working for someone. And I think that is such a valid point that people still don't realize that, yeah, you're an entrepreneur and you're calling your own shots, but you're still responsible to someone for something, right?
Right.
So, being a more seasoned entrepreneur, what advice would you give to new entrepreneurs that you had to learn the hard way, or just something that you didn't, maybe it wasn't that hard, but you just had to learn it on your own? What's one thing that you would tell new entrepreneurs?
Well, one, I would always say that you always have to invest in yourself. You can't stop just because you think you have a business and it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but you think you have a business and then everything is just going to go smoothly. You always have to keep learning. Your customers always want something more from you. If you're providing something of quality, then they're going to want more, and to always keep providing more for your customers. Another thing that I would say, well, you said one, but I would say it takes teamwork. This isn't something that you do by yourself. You could start off by yourself, but it definitely takes a team. If you're trying to go and have a vision for yourself and for your business, then it's not something that you could just sit there and say, hey, I'm going to do this and it's all me and this and that. No, even no matter what level you're trying to get to, it's never going to be all you. It's going to be your customers. It's going to be the people that follow you and the people that believe in you, and to not give up on yourself, because the people are not giving up on you. So, and also there's a lot of, like, from my experience, there was a lot of disbelief, especially when it comes to writing and stuff. People are like, who's reading anymore? Like, people have Kindles and everything else. Who's picking up a book? And, or who's even writing? People want to on their phone, like there's plenty of people who write. So you just have to stick to something that you know and believe in, regardless of what people are saying, and go forward from there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great advice. So you have written 21 books, and we kind of talked a little bit about the content for your books. So some of it comes from life experiences for you and just maybe struggles that you're going through that you just, talk about and kind of put out there for people to read what you're going through. Where else does your content come from?
It's mainly from anything that I've going through or have gone through, have experienced, or the people around me have experienced. And a lot of it is intuitive. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to really articulate how. I know a lot of times people are just like, well, you have to have experience in something, which is true. You do have to have experience in some things, but not everything. I do feel like God does tell and reveal certain things to you, and you could choose to do what it is that you want with that. So there's certain things that I may not have been in your shoes, but I just feel like I know that could help you. And it does help the next person. And I can't tell you where it comes from outside of just it being intuitive. I can't say that I went through that. I just feel like I've known. So, and I go ahead and am able to help the other person.
All right. So you wrote this book called Love Lost, Love Found, A Woman's Guide to Letting Go of the Past and Finding New Love. So that is what caught my attention. I saw that online and I was like, oh my God, I have to talk to this girl. Like, this is fabulous. So what was the inspiration for this book? And then tell us a little bit about the book itself.
That's the book that I wrote from the breakup. So that book was like, okay, so I was going through a breakup. Like I said, you've gone through breakups before, whatever. But for some reason, this one just hit me. Like, it just hit me bad. I couldn't get up. It's like I was going through some health problems. I didn't want to eat, whatever. And I'm like, why is it so bad? So clearly my breakup was a blessing for myself and others, because I ended up writing a book. From the book, it was like I was healing within myself, but it was like my spirit talking to me, and I'm just writing it out. And within the book, I talk about there are things that are just beyond your control, no matter what you think you could do or think you could have said or whatever is different, things you could learn from it. And really going back to self-love, talking about forgiveness, understanding that there's so much bigger for you. Just because this happened to you, this isn't the best of your life. There could be bigger waiting for you. And then just getting back to finding love again from that. But it's like a process, and not trying to skip the next process or thinking, oh, I need to rebound with somebody else or whatever else to heal. So the book really talks about healing the correct way and in a healthy way for you to move forward. And also not trying to limit your views on what you think this is, and just be like, just let it be. Like, you don't need an explanation as to why all these things are happening to you. They happen, and move forward.
Yes, I love it, because I know that as women, we go through breakups and we think like it's the end of the world. We're never going to find anybody else. It's over. My life is done. And, it's you're just going through so many emotions and feelings. And even when your friends are telling you like, no, you're going to be okay, you're going to be good, you just don't want to hear it. You don't believe it. So I love that you put this all into a book that could really, someone could really take it and every day go back to this book and be reassured that tomorrow you're going to be okay. Come back and read another chapter, or,
Yeah. Because it's like a lot of expectations. It's like, okay, this is the person because we said so much stuff, so I expect it to fall through. I know this is who I want to be with. And it's like, why can't everything I'm asking for be in somebody else? Why is it like I'm hell bent over for it to be on this person? So I think a lot of that is when our expectations are broken, and then we have no sense of control of things. Then we're just like, pulling our hair and then causing stress on us. While meanwhile, that person, they may be hurting now or later, but they may have moved on.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
Like, okay.
And just so people know, you do heal, you do move on, and you do love again.
Yes, you do.
You definitely do. So,
and you can do that without bashing the other person, wishing them the best, all this other stuff. It doesn't have to be like they're my worst enemy.
Right. It could be a very positive experience for everyone. So, I love your website. I think your website is just beautiful.
Thank you.
I love the section Love Notes. And I just wanted you to tell us how you came up with this concept for that page.
Just things that I like to say to myself, or things that I need to hear that I feel like other people may need or may want, or maybe they didn't even know they needed it or wanted it, but could change. So I just said, hey, we just need some love notes. It'd be nice. So every day I also have daily declarations that I send out. They're declarations towards setting the intention of how your day could be, or how you may want it to be, and just being grateful to God. So that way just sets the tone for the day, regardless of what happens for you. So I think these love notes are important, especially when you, I don't want to say like you, but a lot of times people want it from other people, but they can't give it to themselves. So it's time to get back and do all these things for ourselves. And then it'll naturally come from anybody who's meant to give it to you.
Absolutely.
So to give it to anybody else too.
Yes, that is so true. Yep. You got to love yourself and you got to treat yourself good, because that's where it starts. Because if you're doing that for yourself, then you don't expect anything less from anybody else that comes into your life. So yes, girl.
Exactly. And it's natural. It's like when you look at other people, like, how come they're treating her like it's the world and all this other stuff? And you're like, what does she have that I don't have? Well, maybe she just loves herself a little bit. Maybe she does things. Maybe it's just so natural. You just never know. Like, instead of comparing yourself to the next person and be like, you know what? This is what I want for myself. This is what I'm going to give to myself. There was one person, she reached out to me and she was, going through a relationship that just ended, but she was saying, she wants to reach back out to this person, like you just have those withdrawals. So, I told her that, and this is because I did this for myself. I told her that sometimes when you have those urges to text late at night, what you should do is just text yourself, act like you're the guy and just start texting yourself. And that way, when you do that, maybe somebody will come along when it's in due time, not that you're looking for it, who will talk exactly the way you would like them to talk, just like that, in the nicest way possible to you, and respond to your spirit.
Yeah.
But if you're just reaching out to someone who's trying to hurt you or who has hurt you and hasn't changed, you didn't even give them time to change. I don't know when they were supposed to change. It'll probably be the same thing.
Yeah, it'll definitely be the same thing, and it's just not gonna work. I feel like, usually when you break up with someone or someone breaks up with you, it's probably for the best, but for some reason we get in our own way and we talk about closure and all this craziness that we need. No, you don't need closure. It's closed. Like Nene said, the door is closed.
Yes. It's closed. It's been closed. It closed way before you knew it, or maybe you already knew it. It's closed.
Exactly. Especially if they disrespected you, cheated, did something like, come on. So
yeah. It was closed 4 years ago.
Right. It's definitely time to love yourself and love up on you. And then, like you said, you will attract that same energy from someone else. I truly believe that. Yeah. So what do you do to keep yourself grounded and keep your ego in check? I
will say I do a lot of prayer. I do a lot of meditation. Ego, I don't feel like there's anything to be egotistical about. But, I never know how it could be viewed towards other people for another person. Right now, the work for me is really making sure I'm aligned with the purpose that I have with God. The work for me also is, like we were talking about, self-love, which can be misconstrued for ego. I do feel that someone else's perception is not my business, only because of where I'm trying to go. And I know if I'm coming with the purest of heart within something, then I can't bend to everybody's expectations. I just can't. Some people are going to like you and some people aren't. But as long as I'm coming again from a pure heart and doing something, I'm just a work in progress. So, and I do believe no one is ever finished. So, yeah,
I love that. Yes. And the only reason I say ego is because I've been reading this book, and it talks a lot about how our egos get in our way sometimes, or whenever we like are resistant to something in a negative way, whether it be someone's opinion or anything that comes about, it could be our ego, creeping up and taking control. And, so when you're out there, you're on social media, you're writing books, you're doing your thing, you have a purpose, you have a mission. Sometimes, people can be a little, full of themselves or whatever. And
Right.
I was just asking to see how, you feel about yourself, how you're perceived, and how you put yourself out there. And your answer was amazing, spot on, perfect, in line with everything that I expected it to be,
Thank
So,
you.
yeah.
The only part in ego that I would say, because I'm thinking about it more, would be like it would be more personal, where I would feel like I've had work, but this requires patience on my end. And again, where I talk about aligning with purpose, where I'm like, I'm not where I feel like I should be, those types of things. And I'm like, well, maybe you're not doing enough, or maybe you're not in that type of sense. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that I don't, yeah, I don't know what to be just go with that.
I'll definitely share that book with you offline, girl. But
Okay.
I think you are exactly where you're supposed to be. And, as
Mhm.
time goes on, you will get to, that next place wherever it is, you know?
Wherever it is, trying to
Y-
figure it out. It's always
Right.
like you think you're supposed to go this direction, but then God says you need to go in this direction. And you're like, but I thought this is the path. And I'm like, no, this is your path. And I'm like, okay. So,
Exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
Hmm.
So on your site, you also have the 8 gems, which I love those too, right? So I
Hmm.
want you to talk a little bit about each gem, just giving us a little quick high level overview of what it means to you. So it's confidence, spirituality, love, money, success, desire and liberation, lifestyle, and signature style.
Oh boy.
I
Those
know. So,
okay.
so confidence, confidence.
Yes, confidence. Confidence, I feel like, is important because confidence means a lot in terms of, making the right decisions. I think it's also a lot in being able to speak up for yourself. Um, Confidence is, I think, a lot of times, just with myself and what I've seen in other people, there's a lot of desires and I want to get here and this and that. But then when it's time to actually grab what it is that you say you want and that is yours, there's no confidence behind getting that. And the reason behind that is probably, just maybe failures of the past, or you just thinking that you can't for some reason because you never had it, don't know what to do with it. And I just think that having that confidence wouldn't stop you. You would really be able to say, this is who I am, this belongs to me, and then go from there. So I do think confidence is important, and just knowing who you are and who God says that you are, because there's a lot of things that are going to shake you anyway. So, and if you don't stand on any kind of foundation and have any confidence in yourself, I could tell you something, the next person could tell you something, the next person could tell you something, and you're just tossing, keep going around, and you wonder why nothing's happening for you and how you feel. And you're just in a place of just like, I don't know what's going on.
Right.
So,
Confusion.
right, like if you don't know, I don't know.
Right.
So, like, that kind of
Exactly.
thing.
You got to know something.
Mhm.
Spirituality.
That's important because that's where I would feel like that's the foundation for your confidence and for anything else, for success. For me, I just, even writing the book and anything else, like I said, it was a prayer. And from the prayer, I truly believe from that prayer, and then everything just took off after that and it flowed. And just having one with the spirit, like I said, it was my spirit talking to me. So that's where I feel like where spirituality comes in, and it aligns you with everything that you want. everything that's within you anyways. And when you operate in the spirit, then I feel like anything physical will manifest itself. So you'll see it.
Love.
Okay, love of self, love of what you're doing, love to be able to give towards someone else, operating in love at all times, so that way you don't even see, things that are going on in terms of someone even trying to be hateful towards you. This is a little off topic. Even my cousin, I think my cousin is such a sweet person. And she didn't even know, like, she's like, oh, at my job, they're saying this girl, like, she's jealous of me or whatever else. She's like, yeah. I don't, like, she didn't pay no attention to it. And then something happened. And then that's when she was able to see it. And she's like, even what she's doing to hurt me and to get me in trouble, I still don't even feel any kind of hate towards her. And I thought that was very powerful of her because of what happened. But it was just like, when you stand in something like that and know how to operate in a place of love, no matter what happens towards you, no one could make you get out of who you are just for them to be happy of where they got you to be.
That's amazing. I'm working on that too. Because that's hard.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It definitely is. You're like, you meet one level of person, but then you meet another level of person that'll test you and you're like, oh my goodness. But yeah, things happen. But, to be able to not just receive it, but to give it as well would be
money.
I think that's something we all want.
Yes, we do.
The thing about wanting money for me is that, especially with business, that I've learned, you could make a lot of money. But yeah, you got to learn how to manage it. Especially, like, I could tell you my mistake. My first year, I didn't, I did really well. And I didn't know that, I thought about taxes, but I didn't think taxes in the way taxes was going to be. So even when I went to my tax person, I'm like, how much of a refund am I getting? And they're like, you're not getting a refund. I'm like, what do you mean? Because I'm used to, like, oh, you get a little refund. And he's like, no, you owe, and I'm like, that's more than my degree. Like, so I had to learn the hard way. So with that being said, I do feel like being able to know that money can come to you, but you also have to learn how to manage money, not being scared of money. Even if you're in a situation where you're desperate for money, you don't let money become the master of you for you to do things that is not of you just for getting that money and showing it off, and knowing how to purposely use your money.
Yep. Respect money. Respect, right? Don't be reckless. Success.
What does success mean to me? Well, knowing what is success to me. For some people, success is having, a beautiful family that is doing this, that, and the other. Success is, for someone else, maybe giving and charity work and whatever else. Success is different for everyone. But I don't know. I just feel like success is...
What makes you feel successful?
What would make me feel successful?
Yeah, or what does? Is it when you get people who reach out to you that say that maybe they read your book and it really helped them? Is it, when you get another call from maybe editor, not an editor, but the book people saying that you need to do another book or something? Or, is it when you go to the bank and look at your bank account? Like, what is success for you?
Honestly, I'm going to say that I don't really feel like I've reached success or felt success only outside of moments where I've needed miracles. So, and it's weird to say that, but it's true. So for me, yes, I do get testimonials and stuff where people have said how much it's helped them. And even then, I feel like it's not attributed to me. I read it and I'm like, wow, that's pretty big, but I don't think of me per se that did that. So I just feel like that's God that reached out to them and has changed them in whatever way. Not to say that's not my success, but for some reason I don't grab it like that.
But you don't think that it flows through you, like God is using you to help, reach these people?
I do feel like I am the vessel, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't grab it in the way I'm like, yes, I'm successful, because like it just doesn't make
Right.
me feel that way.
Got it.
Um, I feel like moments that I can't predict that feel so good
Mm-hmm.
are my successful moments. So for example, like what I said was, when I said everything just flowed, those things to me are like, okay, that's success. Honestly, my desires of where I stand right now, it could change. I would like to get to a place where everything is flowing for me in business and family life and everything else, to where I just really like meditate all day. That's my desire and dream the whole time. I don't know. I just feel gravitated towards doing that. I don't know what success really is to feel like outside of what I just said. The times that I don't plan for that feel so good and joyous, or if someone calls you up with good news or whatever, and you're like, whoa, like I couldn't have planned that. I didn't think about that. I didn't do those things. I'm glad to hear the testimonies. I'm happy to hear like the effects, because it's bigger than me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. I say, and I feel this way all the time. Even though you're being used as a vessel, that doesn't mean that your relationship can improve with God, or can't be this. And I still feel like I'm on improvement. Like I need to work on that even more.
Wow. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that's fine, you know?
Hmm.
Desire and liberation.
I think there's a difference between desire and desiring something and actually being something. We could desire something all we want, but actually getting what it is that you desire is something different. And being able to free yourself from things that like people say you're supposed to have, what you need to have, and just really truly living to being who you say you are and what you feel like is good for you. Some people desire to be married at 25. Some people
Mm-mm.
it's like, what's the real reason you want to be married at 25? Is it because someone told you have to be married at 25 and this and that and whatever else? Or you really truly feel that, and knowing the difference from that and saying, well, this is what I am. I'm going to move from desire to actually being, and then being liberated in the sense of like, I don't desire that anymore because I'm actually that. So that's how I view desire and liberation.
Yeah, I like that too. Lifestyle.
Lifestyle. Lifestyle for me is just habits that either need to break or form, and just the way you view how you live, how you want to live your life. I guess that goes with success, love, confidence, all those things. How would you want to set your day, and how would you want to create your life? So that's how I view lifestyle.
And the last one is signature style.
Yes, I like that one. Signature style. Signature style is with everything. Of course, I say the way you dress, but also the way you do things. Maybe it's the way you cook. Maybe it's the way you say something. Maybe like establishing your signature style and loving your signature style, because I think that also goes hand in hand with confidence and just knowing, hey, that's me. That's what I do. That's okay. If I always say this is how I say it. Something that makes me feel good, look good. People know me for this, especially in business. You should have a signature style.
Absolutely. So, do you think that you are doing your purpose work? And if you do, what specifically do you think you're doing that makes it your purpose work? And if not, then you're still on, your journey trying to figure out what that is, and that's fine too.
I do feel like I'm doing my purpose work, but I also understand purpose changes. So currently, right now, yes, I feel like I'm doing my purpose work. I feel that way because of the people that it's helping, because of how natural it came to me, because of, like I said, the flow of the prayer and just what it's been doing. I feel like this is my purpose. It feels right. It feels good. It's not something that's hard for me to do. It is something that I've been doing again since I was young. So I do feel like it is my purpose work. It's just now you take what you've always known and you got to master it. And then you're helping others with it. You're helping others see it, because again, like I said, I've been told who's going to write, who's going to do these things. And yet there are people who really love the journals and really love how it's helped them. and the book and how it's helped them and stuff. So I do feel like I'm doing my purpose work. Do I feel like my purpose work will change? I do. I do feel that way. I do feel like this is only part of the journey. I do feel like there's other things that God has for me to do.
Awesome. So what do you look forward to doing the most every day when you wake up?
What do I look forward to doing? I'm always inside, to be honest with you. So I actually look forward to being outside and just going for a walk. Something simple. It's that and talking to my mom.
Nice. That's beautiful.
Those two things.
All right. So this is the Oh Hell No podcast, and I always ask my guests to share an Oh Hell No moment. You know, an Oh Hell No moment is any moment where you're like, oh hell no. It could be good, it could be bad, it could be whatever, but it's a moment along your journey, and we are always having these moments. But I want you to share an Oh Hell No moment that either changed your perspective on something or taught you a lesson.
Okay. It's like a oh hell no with a oh hell yes. So
Okay.
that kind of thing. So at the last job that I had, my manager and I just didn't see eye to eye, and it's always like we were short staffed, blah blah, whatever the excuses were. So I knew that I finished writing the book and the book was thriving, and I'm like, I can't stay here no more. So I said, I'm going to give them, a week. Then I'm like, nah, let me be nice. Let me not give them a week. I'll just give them a week and a half. So I went ahead. I friendly with my coworkers. I'm like, okay, I'm going to leave. I just want you guys to give you a forewarning. I'm turning in my resignation letter. So then I went to turn it in. He's never at the job, never ever at the job. So I had to give it to HR. I gave it to HR. Then, I go about my day, and it's around lunchtime, and magically my manager shows up. And I'm like, you never come in, so I don't know why. But anyways, he shows up and he says to me he wants to see me in HR. So I said, okay. So I go to HR, and then HR is like, we did receive your resignation letter, but you do not need to come back. You could leave right now. And I said, okay, but here's the blessing in all of this. She said to me that they will still pay me for 2 weeks. Mind you, I gave a week and a half, and they don't even want me for the whole week and a half. So I'm getting paid to not be there because my manager wanted to prove a point. And I was like, this is more of a blessing to me than anything else. So it went from oh hell no to oh hell yes. And I was moving, and I'm like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to move and go to work at the same time. And now I had plenty of time, and I was still getting a check. So I got a check. So I was like, I don't know who you're hurting, but okay, fine. So my insurance, I had the whole month instead of and I remember it was the beginning of the month, and I was supposed to go halfway in the month. And I'm like, well, I'm free. So I got 2 checks. I got my insurance, and I just did what I pleased. And, it was crazy because I left after lunchtime, that meeting, and what happened? He sent out an email to everybody trying to make it seem like he let me go. And when I'm close with my coworkers, so my coworkers sent me a screenshot of the email, and I was like, only God would be the one to be able to free you. So even when someone's trying to do nasty and bad, I'm like, it doesn't matter. I got 2 checks. Right. So there goes my hell no to my hell yes story.
I love it. Yes. Take the gems from that, people.
It's do right. Try always go in with the pure heart and do right. I'm like, you know what? No. And even when they try, they can't touch you if you know who you belong to. They cannot touch you.
Exactly. Yes. I love that. That is funny.
Yeah. I was like, to this day, I'm like, I don't know why someone would do that. Why would you pay me to not be there? But whatever.
Well, it was such a pleasure having you on the podcast. Please tell everyone where they can get their hands on this new book and how they can stay connected with you and get all those beautiful love notes from you.
Oh, thanks. Well, you could get the Love Lost, Love Found book on Amazon or any major bookstore, Barnes and Nobles, and any place else. You could go on my website TatianaJerome.com, and I'm also on Instagram as well as Facebook. Awesome. Tatiana.Jerome, and then on Facebook, I am Tatiana Jerome. And on my website, you just sign up and you get daily declarations every day.
Yes, I think we need that. I'm definitely signing up.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been doing it for 3 years now. Daily declarations. They haven't stopped every day.
Wow, that is really cool.
Thank you.
Love it.
Thank you for listening. Be sure to subscribe and rate the show.